Hello my dear students, welcome to my YouTube channel that's Concepts of Chemistry. Before starting today's lecture, please do subscribe my channel. My dear students, today's topic for the lecture is the modes of chemical combination. In the previous lectures, we have studied about why do elements combine. The elements or the atoms combine to achieve nearest stable noble gas configuration. So to achieve that configuration, there are two different ways by which they can achieve, that is by which they can form bonds with each other. So different modes of chemical combination are either by transference of electrons, either by transference of electrons or by sharing of electrons. The elements can achieve nearest stable noble gas configuration either by transference of electrons or by sharing of electrons. The transference of electrons always takes place from metals to non-metals. In the previous lectures, we have studied about what do we mean by metal in terms of electron. The elements which have tendency to lose electrons, they are all metals. Now let's talk about what are non-metals in terms of electrons. The elements which have tendency to gain electrons. So there will be the transference of electron from metal as they are losing electron to the non-metals as they are gaining electrons. So let me take an example. Let's start from a very basic and a very simple example for the transference of electrons. That's sodium chloride, NaCl, the table salt which we use commonly at our homes. Table salt. Now let's talk about the sodium, and here I am writing chlorine. What's the atomic number of sodium? It's 11. What's the general electronic configuration of sodium? That will be 2, 8, 1. Now, how many electrons are there in the outermost shell of the sodium? It's only 1. So sodium will have a tendency to lose this 1 electron from the outermost shell to attain stable noble gas configuration of the nearest gas, that is of neon. So what's gonna happen? Sodium will lose this electron. I'm writing minus electron, and it's gonna form us the sodium ion, that is 1 positive charge. Because it has lost 1 electron, that's why we will show the +1 charge on this symbol of sodium. So configuration comes out to be 2, 8, which is the stable electronic configuration for the nearest gas, the nearest noble gas, that's neon with atomic number 10. So now let's talk about the chlorine. The atomic number for chlorine is 17. The general electronic configuration of chlorine will come out to be 2, 8, 7. So here the valence shell or the outermost shell of chlorine is having total of 7 electrons. So chlorine will try to gain 1 electron to achieve stable electronic configuration of noble gas argon, that's 2, 8, 8. So what's gonna happen? Chlorine will gain 1 electron. Chlorine will gain 1 electron. Which electron? the electron that has been lost by sodium. Chlorine will gain this electron and will become Cl negative with electronic configuration of 2, 8, 8. This is the electronic configuration of the nearest inert gas, that is argon, with atomic number of 18, that's 2, 8, 8. So now you can here easily see that sodium has lost one electron which have been gained by chlorine atom. So here we are having two oppositely charged ions, that is Na positive and Cl negative, and there will be electrostatic forces of attractions between the oppositely charged ions. So there will be the electrostatic force of attraction between the oppositely charged ions, which is termed as chemical bond, and this type of chemical bond, that is electrostatic forces of attraction between the two oppositely charged ions, is called electrostatic bond, electrovalent bond, or we can say ionic bond. We are going to discuss ionic bond in a very great detail in the next lecture videos. So that's a very basic funda about the transference of electron and the formation of ionic bond. Here sodium has lost one electron to achieve stable noble gas configuration of neon, that's 2, 8, and chlorine has gained that electron which have been lost by sodium to attain stable electronic configuration of argon, that's 2, 8, 8. So we got the two oppositely charged ions, that's Na positive and the Cl negative, and there's the electrostatic forces of attraction between the oppositely charged ions, and that is termed as electrovalent bond and the ionic bond, or we can say ionic bond. So that's all about the transference of electrons. Now let's talk about the sharing of electrons. Sharing of electrons always takes place between one atom of non-metal with another atom of non-metal. Okay, let's talk about a very basic example of chlorine gas. Now let's talk about chlorine gas, that's a Cl2 gas. For that thing we need to write the Lewis symbol for chlorine. The atomic number of chlorine is 17 with general electronic configuration of 2, 8, 7. The valence shell is having total of 7 electrons, so we need to show the 7 dots around the chlorine, that's the 7 electrons. So we are writing chlorine, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we can easily see that chlorine is short of only one electron to attain stable noble gas configuration of argon. Now let's talk about the another chlorine atom, because it's Cl2. It's a chlorine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Now what will happen? Both chlorine atoms will share 1 electron with each other to have complete octet of argon. So that means what's gonna happen? Chlorine, the first chlorine atom and the second chlorine atom is going to share these 2 electrons with each other to attain stable noble gas electronic configuration. Now just examine it very carefully. I'm talking about the very first chlorine atom. Now let's talk about the number of electrons after formation of bond which have been found by the sharing of electron. I'm marking the one thing. here like this. Now, as both the chlorine has shared one electron with each other, so I'm talking about very first chlorine atom, then I'm going to discuss about the second chlorine atom. Now let's count the number of electrons around the first chlorine atom. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and the 8th one, because it has been shared. The 8th electron has been shared by the second chlorine atom to the first chlorine atom. So that's about the first chlorine atom, that it has got the 8 electrons in their outermost shell after sharing of electron with the another chlorine atom. Now let's talk about the second chlorine atom. Let me delete with this thing first. Now let's talk about the second chlorine atom. I'm gonna mark it like this. Now let's count the number of electron around the second chlorine atom. That's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and the 8th one. The 8th electron have been shared by first chlorine atom to the second chlorine atom. So again we got the 8 electrons for the second chlorine atom. That means the octet has been achieved by both of the chlorine atom after sharing one electron with each other. So the type of bond which have been formed after the sharing of electron is called covalent bond. So this yellow line is called covalent bond. After that we are having different types of covalent bond, which we will discuss in the next lecture videos in the very much detail. That's polar bond, non-polar bond, coordinate covalent bond. So that's a very basic information about the ionic bond and the covalent bond. I hope you all understood today's lecture. That's about the introduction of the chemical bonding, and we are going to discuss in very much great detail about the ionic bond and the different types of covalent bond in the further lecture videos. So that's all for today. I hope you all understood today's lecture. If any student wants to book a paid one-to-one online class to clear their doubts, then she can contact me. My phone number is mentioned on thumbnail of this lecture. Please do like, subscribe and share this channel to maximum number of students. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. Stay blessed.